we can go from there. So let's speak about these refs. So for those who don't know, ref, what's his name? Ref Luxolo Padi has been suspended. One of more of those things, man. More. Another issue where a ref has made a mistake and then they've gotten suspended. We've seen it. If you remember the Swallows game versus Kukune, now the Chiefs game. And before we make it about thieves and what, it's not about that, guys. It's not about that. It's about the refereeing in general. VAR has been approved in SA by FIFA. So that's probably going to take another 2 years for it to be implemented. 2 years, because the refs have to be trained, the suppliers have to be found and brought in, and then it has to be tested in certain things. I believe they said they're going to be testing it in the MTN8 final because, we do have 4 refs that are qualified to do this. So let's speak about refs and all of that in general. Hey, Dela, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Hola uthi ngibingelele nepanel yana ama-fans lana.
Isikhipane Brian.
Hayi no ukhala kusizi ya. Amakhosi sijabulile siwinile, there's no problem.
Tell me, what do you think about this thing about refs and VAR? What are your general thoughts?
It's sad to see our ref being suspended because now they are human too. Because we do understand a game of football is a game of and also about contacts, physical contacts. So yes, although lama mistakes our ref are costing our team, but it's not fair since to suspend our ref when else we are not providing them with enough equipment like to run the game. Because already we have VAR. I would understand if the referees were suspended during 2010 late, but now we do have VAR. So it comes down to ISAF and Abo. You can't suspend Abo ref whenever you are not giving them enough resources. Because without VAR, yes, mistakes are bound to happen. And VAR was introduced, yes, to eliminate mistakes when it comes to football. So it's like ushaya umntana for ukuthi uyafail esikolweni and umntana khona we are not teaching him anything. We are not there to ukuthi ayenze ama homework. So isafana kwezinye izinto is not unfair. I do understand ukuthi yes siyakhala sama fans and also there are a lot of mistakes. I remember a game Swallows nesikhukhuni. I remember a game Cape Town City neMazulu. IMazulu ya equalizer laphana nge 90 minutes and the score was 3-2, but there was a foul there midfield. So it's one of those things ukuthi suspending referees is not enough. It's not enough because already Abu Chiefs are not in the final. Isikhukhuni lost 3 points due to a blunder ref that match. So they have to equip, but they have to help the referees born on WAP. So suspending them is not gonna be enough because the referees will keep on doing a mistake. I'm telling you, Kolopadi just did a mistake, and it was not Kolopadi this season. Ever since Isbuile, we have been crying about our ref. So the mistakes will keep on piling, and ISAFA will keep on suspending these referees. So it's not fair. So manje sizosala nabo referee abasuka ku Mtsepe Foundation abangena experience, and then again we will keep on having a mistake because Kolopadi ama experience referees. So it's one of those things ukuthi if you are gonna keep on suspending nama experiences ref wako, and then the next thing you won't have ama experienced referees kuma big matches such as Soweto Derby. So next time sizobona uref osuka kuMtsepe Foundation officiating kuSoweto Derby, and then it's gonna be a disaster. Akanayo i-big match temper, akakaze coach ama like iSoweto Derby. You know the atmosphere of Soweto Derby. So the fans also now, but they are intimidating, but we can't blame Tina fans because of referee can't do his job. Because Tina Vele we are intimidating. We can just sing and say we're referee, we can just sing and sing. And then yes, sometimes it does work. Last season it did work because we were pressurizing about ref, and they were giving them a penalty. But now it comes down to Safana, but they need to do something ASAP.
Let me bring in Agent 007. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I thought you said you are the Brazilian Ronaldinho. What was that? What are those touches, man?
Chief, I was wearing white shoes. I was trying my best not to play. No, tell me, my brother, what do you think about these referees?
Um, I didn't intend on joining. I think this is just a Shabin talk, ladies gossiping under a tree,
Okay.
because I think, let's be honest, this is the sort of mafia now,
Mm.
it looks like whenever a mistake, okay, I know we as fans we call it benefiting,
Okay.
but I see it as mistakes from refs against Sundowns. The officials get suspended. For
Mm.
me, that is coordinated um, thing by the mafia so that referees can be scared to make the tough decisions against Sundowns. Um, Last season, I see some support saying they're helping one team. No, it's a general problem. Like Undala was saying, it's an across the
Mm.
board thing. It's not like
Mm.
Sundowns is the only one which is on the benefiting end of wrong decisions.
Yeah.
And Abudu Kuto actually mentioned this on one of the shows that I should watch the Prokonisi Tamazul thing. Like literally,
Mm.
someone passed if a what is that what is this thing called when you start the game from the back?
A king. Now
A
I'm
place
also
kick.
lost. Anyway, yes, yes.
A place kick. When he plays a place kick, the person passed the ball to the player, and the player literally picked the ball up with his own hands.
Mm.
And the game was restarted like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why was the referee suspended? Because that was more of a clear thing than anything else.
Mm.
So I think for me, and like last season, Chiefs received 13 penalties. Some were right, some were wrong,
Mm.
but we didn't see referees being suspended. I'm not here to defend the referees making wrong decisions. All I'm saying
Mm.
is, if the standard is you make a mistake in a game, or let's say you make 2 mistakes in a game, you are suspended. Let it apply
Mm.
across the board so that it is a standard, not just it's applied against a certain team, which is on the
Okay.
receiving end of those calls. That's my only argument, that let it be across the board, not just on particular team now, because now we don't see it as Sundowns fans. We don't see it as, okay, maybe they're trying to correct the wrongs. We now
Mm.
see it as more of a retribution than anything else.
Mm.
And it looks like retribution. But while in actual fact, it should look like, okay, fine, they're trying to raise the level of the PSL referees.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so sometimes this kind of things you have to apply them so that even to the refs themselves, they're saying, okay, fine, guys, we need to raise up our game, or otherwise they're going to raise up their game against Sundowns when Sundowns is playing because the spotlight won't be on them, and then they drop the bar on other games.
Okay.
But I think Indela said everything which needs to be said. Um, uh, we have to blame Safa more. If there's anyone who needs to be punished, is Safa.
Okay.
How can a referee who is refereeing for a person who receives 350,000 a month um, actually gets paid on commission and gets paid small fee and is a part-time worker?
Okay.
I think I think it's like expecting someone who serves a president, to be a part-time chef. The standard and the quality of the people you are serving should be the same. I expect a professional cook to cook for the president of SA, because that's what the president deserves. So I think more of the blame should go to the FA.
To Safa. Okay, okay. Let me bring in NNV. NNV, how are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, I'm well, man. How are you?
I'm okay, my brother. I'm okay. Tell me, how do you feel in general about the refereeing in the PSL?
As this week's beneficiary, I just kind of feel like it's more of like a witch hunt now.
Okay.
Because my only issue right now with the refereeing is, yes, mistakes are being made, but then that's football. My only problem is with VAR and VAR in its totality. I've seen it in other leagues. Mistakes are still being made by VAR even there. And now when VAR, it hurts the most because I can have the rules in one hand, but then the referees on the pitch decide something else. Which is like, okay, I understand why there's a whole lot of pressure now because certain teams are not in places where they feel like they should be because of a mistake one person made in a match. And
Okay.
there is no guarantees with mistakes which referees are made without VAR. But then the minute VAR is introduced, we're gonna have a big problem on our hands because now, what then when mistakes are being made with VAR? And suspension of referees, I feel like it's something that should be sort of like a KPI, not because one match went wrong. Let's see your performance over like 5, 6, 7 games. Then I can understand why they're saying, you know what, this referee should just go back down to the NDF and gather himself so he can come back. But just because you made one error, and I mean, like, it's more of like, there are things that I feel like other teams and other people in this entire system need to get right before they can blame the referees, because now it kind of feels like if you make a mistake and it goes towards one team which we don't like, you get the boot. And my problem with VAR, I've seen that with the PSL, whenever mistakes are made, I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay, you know what? The referee made a mistake. He is human. The linesman did not see it. That's fine. But then now, in a system where they want to introduce VAR and mistakes are still being made, like, I've seen so many mistakes which, like, and then Agent Paulo Seren was saying that, like, you see the rules clearly dictate that if you put the ball down and you kick it to the next player, okay, play has started. When another player takes it, then they score, it's incorrect. And I was surprised at so many decisions along the board. So I'm just like, VAR, I don't think is something people want because they want the edit technology and the goal decision technology and anything. I feel like they are speaking from a place of being hurt because they feel like they are receiving pressure from fans and whatnot. And suspending referees, like Agent Paulo said, I don't think you suspend a person over one mistake over one game. That's unrealistic.
Okay. You know, you brought up something there. And Agent touched on it as well. The way I feel about it is that these referees are going to be the same. Ultolopad is not the first time that he's had these problems. And if we remember correctly, the problem with VAR is that VAR is not a third party that runs it. It's going to be these same referees. It's just that one is going to be sitting at a head office or wherever the VAR is located, right? So, Lela, can we trust Guti if these referees that are making mistakes, and we've got a history of them, besides Abo Party, Abo Tongwane went out because of mitigating circumstances, or Ace went out because of mitigating circumstances. We see the same guys. Last year, Upadi got into trouble for some other things. He's getting into trouble this year as well, right? Do we trust then that these same referees are going to be any better? Makonivar.
Obviously, we have to give them a chance.
Dlela. Sorry, NNV, I'm going to Dlela. I'm gonna come to you. Dlela.
Obviously, we have to give them a chance. Like they still deserve a chance because of our ref, and we can't blame them that much because of there's VAR there about 3.8 million available on the Google market FIFA. So yes, our ref, some of them they will need a proper training. They will need workshops. They will need everything for them to be ready for big matches because. So we in South Africa, we don't have big matches. Gaku. The only big matches we have is the Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns versus Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns versus Orlando Pirates. Let me say maybe those are the three big matches that we have. We cannot call them big matches. The Swallows versus Kaizer Chiefs or Pirates, we know Gucci. It's original Soweto, but it's not a big match. It's Super Sports against Mamelodi Sundowns. It's a Tshwane derby, but it's not a big match. Abomazulu versus Golden Arrows are derby, but they are not big matches. So this laboratory they should find it easy. Unlike about EPL, there are many rivalries there. My fans are coming to attend Iteram. So about they don't have the Leo pressure because in some matches there are about 2,000 fans there. So we really need VAR and we really need to test them because we cannot say about the pressure because already Victor Gomez is no longer there. We once said about Victor Gomez, I'm experienced referees, but even now, Victor Gomez now, bias. The thing is, Victor Gomez is that bebe msaba punish ama mistake wakhe because of they know ukuthi Victor Gomez une status, they know whether it is the best ref. So it comes down to ukuthi, do you trust these referees? What I would say, ukuthi, they need to hire more referees. They need to hire more referees for VAR. If the VAR comes, then we need more. We need new referees. We need to mix experience and new. So the experienced referees will be able to assist the new referees. So we cannot have our body, our referees that had almost 3 or 4 offenses of ama suspension. Like the ref lab already, we know ukuthi ama error prone. Baba error prone, they do have an error in them. So we have to mix nabanya ref, like abo ref baning. So one thing I was not helping Isafa, I was looking pre-season abo EPL. They were showing abo ref training uma pre-season. There's a pre-season yabo ref. But here in South Africa ngibonanga kakhulu pre-season yabo ref, because sometimes uthola ukuthi u ref la ngale, okay, like agent just said, he's a ref at the side, and it's a part-time job. So in other ways, bona abaningi that ubref babuthatha njenge side hustle. So it's one of those things that now they really need to babe nalo nto leyo ukuthi when I'm refing here, I'm a professional. I'm doing my job. I'm not just here just to ngizopanda, or I'm just here for a side hustle and then ngibuyele move on ama incentive. So it's one of those things that now they need to equip them. They need to teach them workshops. Guys, listen here. A match can influence anything, because now abantu are waiting for their team to fair final. There are many things that are involved there. Our sponsors are watching. So if our sponsors, they were willing to sponsor maybe after Premiership, and now they are watching maybe 3 or 4 matches, and they keep on seeing about if doing our matches. So it means our sponsors, because they will see ukuthi seems like about the way to they are influenced by envelope, like someone's paying them, because sometimes go back clear like we can't have a mistake lawa eswabona ku CAF. Yes, CAF is corrupt, but it seems like nathi suffer to corrupt when it comes to about referees. Then to this is bonale ama teams that more dlala ku CAF, so no, you know what, abo ref ba corrupt, abo ref le lawa aba refa abo Ghanaian Premier League unokuza kuthiwa ref ushawa ama fans amshayi. So it's one of those things, not is now no problem, but in abo refers bashayi. But now they are corrupt. There seems like there is envelope from them. That's why I'm saying they need to give them that feel, which guys, this is a professional job. You can get fired anytime if you are gonna do a mistake here. They need to know that. Yeah.
Let me bring an agent. Agent, I've got the same question to you. Do you trust? Because as we've said, as Udlela said as well, it seems as though we don't have many referees in general, and we don't have many experienced quote-unquote referees. And now it seems that the experienced quote-unquote referees are the ones that get into trouble a lot. Do we trust them with VAR? Because again, that system is going to be run by them. How many times are we going to see, you know what, it's inconclusive, I'm taking it back to the ref? Will it change anything?
Yeah, I think, this question, I think it's a question of which I always ask lawmakers whenever I have the opportunity to engage with them. You say, I want to increase the penalty for robbery and murder and stuff like that to maybe 20 years, And I'm like, but are the sentences going to reduce crime?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless and until we deal with the causes of crime, then you can talk about increasing punishment. Increasing punishment won't solve the problem unless you solve the causes, the root causes of the problem. The root causes of the problems are not being fully trained, not being fully employed. Those are the things that we need to address first, because now you are taking the same people. It's like taking an old man to operate a computer, He's still the same old man, it doesn't change. You haven't empowered him enough, So I think it is just an expensive toy that we have bought for the referees that is not going to change anything. If anything, it's going to make things worse, because now fans are going to be more agitated and say, but you saw this, you're still making mistakes, And we see this in EPL that the refs that are so-called of the best league in the whole world are still making these mistakes, The PGMOL is always issuing statements and apologies week in and week out, Because even with them, I feel they didn't address the root cause of why are referees so poor,
Yeah.
And again, also, I think it's a case of uh, uh, what did I want to say to you? It's a case of saying if we have VAR, right? What are we gonna do to improve the quality of the refs using VAR? I think I don't necessarily agree with training refs to be the ones who are leading. I think, if I recall well, the person in the VAR, the lead one, is a retired referee. You know, just like sometimes in courts, what they would do, they would outsource a retired judge to preside over a case. So I think we should be going to old referees to oversee everything.
But the old
They
referees
can.
were also part of it.
No, I think it's a case of it's there's what do I call it? There's a mistake in the youth. I feel like you grow older, you forgo your mistakes, you learn more, you become wiser. There is maturity in age. I don't think Bra Ace will make the same mistakes that he made in 2009. Because he's learned. Now he's old, his family. So I think also that's the problem, that if you look at the South African refs, we are not producing great refs. It's like we produce one every 10 years and we just focus on that one person. Look at what happened to this guy. What is this guy's name? The last man who was very good with his life, with that. He went to the World Cup and stuff with Victor Gomes.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go with that. After that, who's the next last man that you have heard of? We talked of what is that guy? Diamond. Is it Diamond? The referee? That guy.
Oh, Jerome Damon, Daniel Bennett.
You see Daniel Bennett, and then Victor Gomes, and you see Abovi typing to that controversial, stuff like that. You see, like, it's like we produce one good ref, they always make mistakes, but my problem is, why can't we produce 5 refs, or 6 refs? Like Angela was rightly saying, I think there's 3 pressure measures in SA football, to be honest. It's measures that he made against the 3 big teams. Others are relatively okay, can afford to make a mistake, and they won't be that kind of,
But can we say that? I mean, are we speaking more from a media perspective when you say things like that? Because what if I'm fighting relegation? What if I'm trying to get top 8? What if I'm trying to get into maybe Confed? Those are important matches too.
Those are important measures. I think it's a. let me put it like this. In any game, I think you'd have given that penalty. I think because of the occasion and the fact that I've given Chiefs. Let's say that was Golden Arrows and Amazon. The case that and Divey. I think you would have given that penalty because you wouldn't care that I've given another penalty the other side. I think the pressure of everyone is good looking. What if I get it wrong? What if, and I've already given Chiefs a penalty. I'm not even sure that was a penalty because it was given by the last man. So I'm going to be blamed for making Chiefs advance through. Like there's a lot of things that you consider. I think people are underestimating the importance of a big game in front of a sold-out crowd. There is pressure in that. So and we have a split-second decision to make a decision. You see, now I'm making you aware of the different things that was going in his mind, and he has a split second to make that decision. So sometimes you play cautious and say, you know what, let me not give it. Because I've already given them one penalty.
I hear you, but maybe if it was a first-year ref, maybe it was somebody, but it's guys that have been reffing for a while, one, and then also number 2, they've gotten into trouble before. You get what I mean? And now me making that decision because of the crowd changes, it gets me suspended a week later. You get what I mean? Have I weighed out the things properly? Because I understand it in in small matters. I understand it in small matters. Maybe the Shalulile one is less consequential than a penalty, for example. Maybe I can get it. Maybe it's a throw in, maybe it was a foul throw in, and I'm like, you know what, let the game play. Or, I understand it in those cases. But with these key critical ones, you can't be making those decisions, one. But then number two, if that's how he feels on the pitch, will it not translate to VAR as well, the VAR official, who also sit down and say, if I make this decision, what's going to happen to me? So how do we balance that? Because then it seems like no amount of training will help you with that.
I think it goes. I'll come back to the point that I want to make, that it all comes back to professionalism of the refs thing. Back to what I wanted to say was, you are making a good point that he has been suspended before. Don't you think that pain in his mind and say, "Ish, I'm about to make a call there," which is I'm not sure of. This, because I think everyone was seeing that Chiefs was wanting that penalty. He wanted that. And it's good play. I've seen Zwane buying penalties. So I think that it also played on his psyche that, what if he's buying a penalty? It's the last minute. As a player, what does he do? He wants to buy a penalty. So if I call it, I'm going to be suspended again. So that's why you need to have a referees committee, and not just a committee in terms of people sitting there, but a professional board. Like in the natural science sector, they have ASA. Accountants have their own thing. So you have that where you can be trained, you're given counseling, you're given all that kind of help, you're given footage review. Like now, as a ref, when I'm going to watch Sundowns versus Pirates, right? What I know of is, I know Zwane sometimes does these things where he buys a penalty. I can analyze that. I think this is what we discussed. So guys, look out for Zwane. Sometimes when he does this, he buys a penalty. Look out for Marco. Marco has a temper issue. Sometimes he just pulls things. So I feel like the same way coaches, analyzes a game, I feel like refs should be having that support also of analysts of players' behavior, and stuff like that, and getting proper counseling, and also I don't like this thing of referees being announced a week before, I feel like a referee should be announced maybe a day before, 2 days before, and that should only be made, that should only be made to Safa, not to everyone else. The ones who would just see on the game, on game day, that so and so has been made an official, because I think that also it gives a window of opportunity for people to bribe them. And sometimes it's not even officials, club officials. Sometimes it's even fans. I know I'm going to bet on Sundowns to win, so I know all about it sits next to me, so I can threaten his family. I think that also exposes refs. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say before I go to Kumo, all of this is alleged. Anything that is said by the panel is not the thoughts of overthinking football. I feel like I have to say it when we speak about brown envelope.
And these are hypotheticals.
It's hypotheticals and alleged situations. For those who are joining now, we're speaking about refereeing in the country, but also, guys, I'm monetized on YouTube, so please subscribe on YouTube, watch the videos, join the memberships. Listen, we're monetized now. Kuma, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Thank you, brother. Sharp, and how's everyone else doing?
No, I'm good. I think everybody else is fine. I'm going to throw you into the deep end. Do you trust these refs to lead VAR? Because for all intents and purposes, it's going to be them. And when you hear about, for example, what agents had just spoken about with some of the pressures that come with refereeing, I don't think that goes away as somebody who's sitting in the VAR room. So do you think that VAR will make it any better?
Yes, the concept of VAR, it's supposed to remove all the emotive and doubt that the referee might have. For instance, this past controversial penalty or not penalty, ne? If we look at that penalty not being awarded in detail, I don't blame the referee for not awarding the penalty.
Okay.
Not to sound biased. From his point of view, the way the guy felt and the way Maseko pulled back his leg, he might have thought maybe it might look like simulation. And the first rule of refereeing, if you aren't completely sure of the decision, do not award it. And also, his assistants didn't also give him clarity to give penalty. Let's award it to him now. So VAR, it's supposed to remove those things. For Hasesho, he must go to the screen. One. Fine, he might still not award it and say, I stand by what I said. But I like what the agent said before, like maybe having a panelist of referees or a tribunal. Maybe we can also have like a demerit system. Like, okay, fine. Us as the VAR tribunal, we can clearly see this was supposed to be a penalty, and even you, after looking at VAR, you still did not award it. So we're gonna give you 4 demerit points, and if you get another 4 or another 1 demerit point, that means you are suspended. So we have to trust our referees with VAR. I mean, like, we already trust them with officiating. So we like VAR is supposed to help, and we should trust that it should help, but we can also make it more accountable so that our referees do not misuse VAR.
Okay. NNV, are you back? NNV?
I'm back.
There we go. Tell me, do you trust these referees to take over VAR? Because VAR is not AI, as Rulani spoke about last week. It's not AI. It's still human guys, susceptible to many different things. They're going to be taking it over. Do you think that it changes anything, especially if it's the same suspended referees that are going to be in charge of these systems?
I feel like the problem is not, when it comes to VAR, I feel like the problem isn't necessarily the on-field referees or anything, but then how is it implemented and used? Because I remember when it was first introduced during the World Cup, over time, it got changed to VAR being able to change a decision on pitch while they're not there, rather than telling the referee to go and review it, right? So if you look at that Maseko penalty, right, in that sense, it made sense for the referee to be told, okay, you know what, look, that play was kind of confusing to all of us. Is there anything that you noticed that can tell you straight, according to the rules, that's not a penalty? Maybe a phase in play, the manager decided that's not a penalty. If you cannot, we are not saying it's a penalty. Just go and look at it. And the thing is, I think what bothers people the most is not knowing why. Because I feel like in some instances, if, let's say you have a panel of referees, a controversial decision is taken on the pitch and, hey, some team lost. And then they come out the next day, not with a statement to apologize, but then to say, look, what had happened in that phase of play was sort of like a dive by us because of 1, 2, and 3. We didn't give a penalty. We gave a penalty because of 1, 2, and 3. And I feel like if you implement it the right way, and then don't think about matches as I think someone made mention that some matches are not the same. Like a Sundowns versus Chiefs game is not the same as Golden Arrows versus Chippa United kind of game. Sure, but then the principle is still the same. If you cannot apply the rules as they are to that match, you're going to have issues when it comes to the big matches. And personally, I feel like it's a situation where we must always follow the rules and just leave it there. Just because Kozwane has a tendency of shopping for penalties, at the end of the day, if you bring a man down in the box, whether he pushed you to it, he seduced you into doing it, you did it. Whether a player has a temper or not, at the end of the day, the issue is we are looking at so many different factors besides the penalty. There's also safety. You also have to care for the other players you're playing with. Are you playing dangerously? Whether you have a temper or not, at the end of the day, when you go into a tackle, are you following the rules? Which side are your studs facing? So it's more of like, let's stick to the rules and implement it in such a way that it's not them telling each other you're wrong or you're right, or them trying to be wrong or right, but then just to evaluate the field of play, come up with a decision. And if we're all crying that saying that we have beneficiaries right here and there, then we can, on the next day, maybe on a Monday or no, maybe a Tuesday, they can just say, the panel of referees came out with this following matches. The reason why we did this here was for 1, 2, and 3. The reason why we did here was for 1, 2, and 3. Because I feel like even if they can notice that they're making the same mistake over and over and over, I feel like it's something that they cannot make do more than once.
Okay.
Because I saw with the EPL recently with the penalty Arsenal got, which United was not given. I feel like what had happened after the United game, they said, look, this happened. This was supposed to be a penalty. They did not apologize to anyone, but then internally they fixed it. We were not aware of this. Hence why, when they finally gave a penalty in the next game, we were all heartbroken because why didn't we say anything back there? So I feel like if the panel of referees can be established, have a constant team of staff which are permanently employed, put them on a roster that you control by yourself. And at the end of the day, we're all human. I'm a Sundowns fan, so if I'm a referee, you make it a point not to put me on Sundowns matches or matches that can indirectly or directly affect Sundowns when it comes to cup game.
Okay.
So it's more of like, let's not rely more on the matches, what the match is, what the match is not. Let's look at the rules, have a system, and let the referees show us who they are before we can punish them. Because I could have been breathing. I could have blinked when Maseko took a swipe there, and I didn't notice it. All I saw was someone pulling his leg away and a player falling down. So to me, that's what I saw.
Okay,
so let's have an implementation which is done with the rules, and then we can work from there. That's the only way VAR can be implemented, and we're all happy.
Let me bring in Malume Kutsa. Malume Kutsa, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm well, how are you, Mr. OT?
No, I'm okay. Hey, man. Hey.
But yeah, we are happy for you.
Thank you. Tell me, Malume Kutsa, is VAR going to change anything? Because we've seen the issues in Europe with VAR. We've seen how there's still complaints about it. We've also seen that a lot of what VAR is, it's still down to the interpretation of the refs. And if there are external pressures, fans, the size of the match, all of that stuff that come into play, that's not going to go away to the person who's in the VAR booth or to the ref who has to make the decision. Do we trust our refs with this VAR system?
Okay, in opening, I've just read that Lukolo Padi is not suspended.
Oh, yes, it's a okay.
Rehabilitation of some sort.
Sekgowa.
Exactly.
Sekgowa.
Referring in real life, interpretation of the laws and words. But the one thing we have to be cognizant of, and I'm happy about what Envy just said. There's just one last part, the human aspect that I actually blinked, and we ignore, or rather we don't appreciate how quick these things happen in real life. And we forget how many times have we jumped, whether we are at the tavern, whether we are going through alone, just relaxing, screaming penalty, and the replay comes back and it says there is no penalty here. Or we're like, that's a dive, and it comes back and it's clear which they kicked him. I understand. So we are all human. We don't see it immediately.
Okay.
So when you are a ref, you're expected to be a judge on the spot, analyze both Kaizer plaintiff and Kaizer defendant or accused, and give a judgment immediately within 2 seconds.
Okay.
And even within that 2 seconds, there's already a player in your face. Referee! You don't even get a chance to think. What I understand I'm a supporter, but players and coaches, I feel football has been allowed to be a sport of disrespect.
Okay.
And abuse. The level of abuse a ref takes for no reason. For absolutely no reason. Like players, like I saw my own player, Umunari. He was so close to kissing the ref. I do not understand against sentence with how. Munari, how are you going in so hard? No, but I'm like, Munari, how are you doing that to the ref and nothing is done to you? Korapi, you would never dare go at the ref. You'd actually be suspended for a couple of games. Apparently, one player called the ref useless, correct? And he was given 3 games. And it makes so much sense. Even the demeanor they approached you, and those guys are big.
Yeah.
One of you have Jojo coming at you, and you're like, I can finish you right now. Right now, I finish. But then you are the ref, you're expected to be composed. Correct, you've got kind of came on that guy.
The TMO.
No, but that guy who is
Oh, yeah.
but tallest Diaga, the trending one. I think he's our number 4. He doesn't even disrespect the ref. But you look at him, you're like, this guy can squash the ref right now. But he just goes, he's like, ref, come on.
But then, Malume, just to go back on the human, isn't that why you have a ref, 2 linesmen, and a 4th official, just outside of VAR and all of that stuff? Surely they can't all have blinked at the same time.
Uchemba just said, Yeben. Well, here's what I'm saying is that all of these guys are under pressure. They don't work in good conditions, in an environment that's good, that allows for excellence. You can't even make this because we've seen this. Tell me about the Timbers won a penalty. We are all duped. We all of us, we can see which it's not a penalty, but I'm happy that even Pirates fans are like, I would have also given it. That one, Timber sold it nicely at a low price with a parcela on the side. One understand? But the Pirates players, the way they went at the ref, how do we expect that ref to then trust his decision making? Yes, they are professionals, they are paid, but we can't use that as an excuse to abuse people. Refs are actually abused daily. And you've got the legendary navigator saying, the refs here locally do not want to take it, they want to fight. And you're like, Munna, do you know how you call, like,
But then is it not then up to the referee? I remember Ukolina. Remember Ukolina, the ref with the bald head? I think he's he's in the committee or something now. I remember him going, listen, I'm not going to wait for a match commissioner to put this game, to get you guys under control. I'm going to send people off. If Munare did that to Daniel Bennett, he would have been off. You get what I mean? Jerome Damon, he would have been off. So are we just making excuses? I feel like sometimes we're making excuses for people who this is their job, number one. And secondly, I don't know if it's different. Maybe it's because I haven't been watching all the matches. But this season, there's been a lot of crying outside of Chiefs. There's been a lot of crying about referees. And you go, Mara guys, ngati kona something this year.
I'm experiencing a bit of echo. How do I sound right now?
I can hear the echo on your side too. Do you know what I'll do? Disconnect and then come back. Then I'll put you on. Small Credit Union, Small Credit Solution. How are you doing?
How are you, boss? How was it?
No, I'm okay, my brother. I'm okay. I'm throwing you into the deep end. So, do you trust these referees with VAR? Already we see them doing things that are shaky. Do you trust that VAR coming in is going to change that?
VAR won't do any difference. It will only give them extra viewing. You understand? For me, it won't do any difference because if you check before we come to PSL and let's focus on the World Cup. Understand? VAR was to help with everything more World Cup. Understand? But with the first game of Argentina against their first game, I saw a player of Argentina. Even the world saw, even the including referees of VAR they're having like 6 or 7 televisions inside their room. They saw a player pulling another player at the same time, making it to look like he's being pulled. So for me, VAR, it will only give us an extra viewing as we're watching on television. So for me, VAR, it's just to help the referees or going to check there and there. But decisions referee plays a role for me. Because there are many incidents where you would see it doesn't need even a VAR.
Okay. No, go on. You can finish off.
And if you check also, if you check also, every time when a mistake happens, the referee committees or whoever is in charge of the football federation, they always come up with another rule after the mistake being done. Have you ever this is so VAR in PSL, it's going to help only with the viewing. The referee's decision is final. I'm a Sundowns supporter, I'm a Sundowns fan. I like from Mamelodi Sundowns. I grew up like from Mamelodi. But for me, if you check, there are many incidents we've been crying about, not only about Sundowns, like in other teams, they've been crying. It only depends on the referee. If he takes that decision, it is decision, but that decision can change also. You remember a game against Chiefs and Stellenbosch, and in Stellenbosch they got a penalty of a handball. The Chiefs players, they didn't moan a lot. It was kick and do who handled the ball inside the 18 area. They didn't fight with the referee, and then the referee came to his senses and he checked with the first officials. Did I see what I saw? Then they told him no, it hit the stomach. Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
But if a referee takes a decision and all of you run to the referee and you confuse him also, if you check, because when you're shouting at him, he's a human being. Because the way you're shouting at him, you will also take a decision. No, just because of you are doing it. Yeah.
Okay. You know what, Nay? Let me just jump in and give my opinion on this. I think here's the thing. A lot of the time when we're speaking here and the conversations we've had thus far is that there's so many external factors that come into a decision that a referee has to make. My issue is, here's my issue. My issue is, all these things happen. The ref says, I'm not going to give the penalty for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think anything's going to change if he goes to the screen. In fact, it might be worse. Can you imagine in the game versus Kaizer Chiefs, let's say, the game versus Kaizer Chiefs, can you imagine, or let's say the game versus Swallows and Kukune, let's say that one, just to make it smaller. Imagine if the ref gave something and then goes there and takes it away. Now, depending on which side you're on, there might be even more pressure. So now can you imagine that same penalty decision for Chiefs? Let's say Chiefs got that penalty. Maybe Sundowns would be up in arms today. You get what I mean? Now, can you imagine if you changed it mid-game? Those things, I believe, are meant to be what referees are trained to go to, are trained to go through, and trained to understand and trained to do. My issue with this situation is there's a ref, there's a linesman, there's another linesman, there's a fourth official. Great. They all didn't see it. Now, can you imagine the ref under pressure going to the VAR and saying, I'm going to throw it to VAR. Let's say they don't use the screen one. They throw it to somebody. That person who gets that decision is also under the same pressures. So now I'm looking at it. I'm like, yo, ref, we let you like give me. Now I'm watching the game. I could give this thing. It takes this team to the final. Ngapa is going to be like this. What is the media going to say? All of those things are still going to be same as the other guys. Not to mention, what do you call it? If everybody, these allegations of brown envelopes are to be believed, that brown envelope is not gonna. It's gonna go to the guy in the VAR booth, and it's gonna go inconclusive. The ref must decide. The ref will decide whatever. So, are we really mitigating or changing those things there? Malume Kuto, can you just finish the point you were making? I think you're back now.
Yeah, no, I'm back, and I'm sorry I went a bit too long in answering your question. So basically, another point that I wanted to put forward is we watched the Monday shows, the reactions before TikTok came in, the reactions before the reaction era, which is Soccer Zone as well as the one on Dstv. Victor Hlongwane and Ace are sometimes miles apart, having watched
the same clip
over and over and over, and they come back a decision that sometimes even us we're like, "Aibo, what do you mean?" You won't understand. So sometimes I feel like we underestimate the pressure that referees are on, and I think there's a bigger conversation to be had as to when a player takes a dive, what is that? That is cheating. That is an attempt to cheat. How has football condoned this thing for so long? Why are players who dupe the refs not prosecuted or persecuted, whichever it is, post the game so that we stamp this thing out. We end up saying things like Suarez is a smart player, Tembazone is a smart player. Why are these bodies not going after those players so that it makes the job easier for the ref? And it's not only about the ref, it makes football more fair. We get some weird statements go football where you hear the referee decision is final. We've had that for so long, but there's a big screen there and it shows a replay. Why was the ref, or why is the ref in countries where there's no VAR not allowed to say, guys, it's not right. The ball went out or the ball went over the line. Why are we so hell-bent on making football unfair? And then we want to question referee to say, referee, sometimes you even hear people say, VAR, for making the right decision. There's currently a debate about offside. And I've questioned people where a player is offside by a toe. And you hear pundits say, it's just a toe. You're like, are you saying the ref must cheat? Are you saying the ref must make the wrong decision just for you?
Okay.
You understand? So basically, I'm just saying, we must not underestimate a role, rather, a effect and law. The facts are very different. And that's why I said I like what Envy said. I just closed my eyes. I blinked when Maseko swung that foot. All I saw was Maseko pull it back.
But three other people also blinked. I think that's why I'm like, hey, it's just like the goal as Kukune. You're telling me three other people on that pitch didn't see the ref the goalkeeper get pushed. You get what I mean? Like, so what difference will it make, Kavar, if all of us can blink?
No, that one is based on what Agent said. I know I had to close, I'm sorry. It's based on what Agent said to say, it can't be that people are playing for 15 million. And when you think the one person who can change the outcome, you want to give him not even 1% of that, you're playing. Okay. You are playing. That's why auditors are paid so much.
Let me go to Kuma. Kuma, I want to speak about accountability. You know, we've spoken about all these things and also the refs getting suspended. What is your view on making some of these things, some of the punishments harsher? So instead of suspending the ref, let's go, you know what? The game has to be replayed. If you make a mistake like that and we feel the need to suspend you after that, we're going to go to the worst. We're going to go to the worst punishment that we can, which is replaying that game. Because for me, if it is brown envelopes, allegedly, if it is brown envelopes, I've made the decision has gone and done whatever, I get in my bag, I get suspended, I know I'm going to be back 4 weeks later, and then I live my life. What do you think of that? And should maybe a panel of referees, let's say a panel of referees afterwards sit down and say, you know what, if this thing was so egregious, we need to be able to institute penalties and retribution that is high, and not just for Chiefs, maybe for Skukune. Skukune looks back 6 months from now and they're like, wow, that point that we got cost versus Swallows could have kept us in the league, could have made us qualify for top 8 or stuff like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
No, I get you, and I don't know if you can hear me because I seem to be experiencing some network problems, ne?
I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly.
No, I know of some games, like, forgive me if I get the countries wrong, ne? There was a point like where a referee was clearly biased towards the other team and had so many mistakes to a point where the game had to replay it. It was a CAF qualifier or for FIFA. I can't really remember, ne? And I remember this game because we also cried when Ghana made a mistake. We were also crying for replay. But you know what, man? You know what doctors do? Like, if you lose a lot of patients while operating on them, then you have to go back to school. Right? That's how doctors get their punishment. That's severe for them. So
Okay.
we can also do the same for referees. I mean, like, if we're gonna punish referees like that, nah, we can also try and rehabilitate them. And if there's been those allegations of brown envelope, then they should be also be charged for fraud and convicted criminally. I agree the influencing, they've taken bribes and they're messing everything else because there's a lot of stakeholders, sponsors, fans, and everyone else involved. The one that should be the severe punishment for corrupt referees. And also, I don't know if they still do have a tribunal for referees. I know, like in past they used to have, né? Where people get to go over the referee's performance and mistake. I mean, like if a person, if a referee does do mistakes, né, and he can justify them with evidence and based on how and exactly why he did so, I think he should be given a chance and maybe go for further training. Mara, if he did it for the sake of making sure the other team wins, and depending on how severe his mistakes were, if they were not innocent or they were for financial gain, then he should be suspended. He should be taken away his license. He should be go to jail because a lot of things happen, bruh, financially. Sponsors, teams, even fans.
But I'm gonna come back. Let me ask NNV the same question. NNV, should the punishments be harsher? Because at the end of the day, fine, the ref is suspended, fine, all of that stuff. But now, as a team, I look back 6 months from now, and I'm like, that 3 points that is now agreed to have been taken from me is now maybe cost me. I'm now in the first division because of maybe 3 points. Let's say in a worst case scenario, right? Shouldn't there be other accountability measures that can offer retribution to the teams that have played? So should it just be suspend the ref and let them go? Because if it is a brown bag thing, mission accomplished.
Hey, the challenge with retribution is it makes sense when you speak about a certain situation.
Yeah.
But now imagine this. I know it's not gonna happen in our lifetime, maybe.
Yeah,
Let's say
yeah.
Kaizer Chiefs finish first, Orlando Pirates finish second. There's a 2-point difference. And then Orlando Pirates go through their matches, they'll be like, no man. Before that Christmas break, we played a game where we were cheated out of a point. The team got a penalty last minute. It was not even a penalty. So we want our 3 points. What happens in that situation to the football community when they say they want a replay because there was a mistake which was made in one match that cost us 2 points, which could have won the league? One, as a Kaizer Chiefs supporter, you wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
As a Pirates supporter, you would want it because that's what the rules are. So my only issue is when it comes to retribution and rules, the way the system we currently have, I mean, even with soccer rules, they've evolved over the years. But then that having the ultimate punishment is sort of like capital punishment. What happens then when you sentence someone to death, they die, and then the next month or so, the victim says, "Oh, I know, I was lying. It was someone else."
I think I mean it in the sense of right now, whoever at SAFA sat down and they were like, actually, this one was wrong. You get what I mean? Not necessarily that Pirates came to them and said, hey, I mean it in now there's been referees that have been suspended because of specific incidents. And SAFA themselves went, yeah, this was so wrong, right? So now can you imagine if it's 2 points down the line, like you're saying in your example, and as Pirates, you know that the ref of my match of this game was suspended because a separate panel looked at that situation and said, actually, that was wrong. And maybe not in the case of a penalty, maybe in the case of Skukune Swallows, where it resulted in a goal. It was a goal that was given from a direct action. So in those type of situations, because my argument here is, if the ref has a brown bag, allegedly, right, and they were told that you need to go and do this action, even Agent Asim in the comments saying they're going to lose 5K. That's great. The team has given me 20K, and then the action is done. I've lost that thing. Should there be a harsher case?
The challenge is we can't fix our rules going back. We can't have punishments to necessarily fix what went wrong before. We can only retribute, because retribution isn't. It's retribution in its English form and throughout history it's been used in a sense to say, because you went through 1, 2, and 3, we are gonna do this. We can't go back and fix that. But then going forward, this is how it's going to be. Because like if you look at that instance with Maradona and the hand of God, right?
Yeah.
We understood that they needed to be more done to protect other teams from each other, basically. In that sense, to say, you know what, the rules will be implemented. So if a referee is found to be taking money from whichever party is trying to bribe or fix the match, that's one thing. I feel like there are just some instances where we say, you know what, as a referee, this can't continue. You can't be in this league anymore. Let's put you down to, let's say, go as far as the Mutipe Foundation and whatnot. Let's put you there. If you really do want to take this, because it will be a full-time job. I feel like the minute you make it a full-time job, it opens so much more for the league to control and actually have a set play of saying, you know what, because one team was robbed of 1, 2, and 3, we can't give you the points. We can't fix the match. We can't restart the match, because if you restart one match, trust me, you're gonna restart all of them.
Yeah, Tim's right, because it has
it
to be
boils down
correct.
to what do we classify. We're not gonna have seasons. We're just gonna have maybe that game is settled, maybe it's not settled. We'll see it again.
Okay.
But the issue here now, I feel like it's okay to punish it going forward, not going back, because it becomes a whole different ball game when we understand that, you know what, a referee can be punished and then he's moved out of the league and then we are done with it. We move on to the next one. And I feel like we need more holistic solutions to such problems, other than saying, you know what, every time you do this, we'll take you out. Every time a player makes a dangerous tackle, for instance, we're going to put you out for the whole season. On some things which were made in a split second, in a split decision. Because, like, for that instance, when I give you that example about the Homa Seko thing, it's when you look at a game, when the referee is looking at the ball being played, you have to understand that the official, in some instances, other than looking at the ball, he also has to focus on the line now, because now it's back to him. If a corner is taken and the ball goes outside the box, it goes back, it's with the opposition. As the linesman, your one part of your brain has to go to, like, am I keeping the line right? Because the ball can just go back at any instant.
But
So there's a lot of mechanics that we have to accept that, you know what, not all these decisions are gonna just go up in an instant in our day. That's why it's like VAR is supposed to help in that instance of saying, you know what, I am sure. And I don't understand how a referee at Lucas Muripe Stadium is gonna be under pressure. Same one as a referee who's sitting maybe somewhere in Randburg. How is he under pressure? Meanwhile,
because your name is on. We're saying
the
already the ref is in trouble if they make a situation. So if my name is on it and everybody knows that I made the decision, it's the exact same pressure. So it might not be. You get what I mean? So that decision, it will have my name on it. So maybe I'm trending the next day. You get me? Maybe I don't want to make that decision.
So let's move away from VAR being defined by a specific, because I feel like what the EPL does the most, I think I blame the EPL. When they say there's VAR, they're talking about they put out one player that's like Conor McNamara, and they're like, okay, he's the one who's there. And in some instances, VAR by FIFA's design was a panel of a few referees sitting there who can analyze the game at different instances. Let's remove VAR from being one particular referee to being a body in itself. To say, from where we are, 10 Cowden rides away, 10 kilometers or 100 kilometers away from you, we don't understand what happened there. Not because there's a specific referee who's talking, but then because the whole body, which is the assistant referee, is saying that, you know what, we don't get it. Would you
as a fan accept a decision from a faceless committee?
I'm not going to accept the decision from a faceless community. I'm going to accept the decision made by a referee on the pitch. Don't let them dictate the game. No, let them talk to the referee to say, look, we don't understand 1, 2, and 3. Can you go take and have a review? That's how it was changed, because I feel like earlier on VAR was saying, you know what, that looks like a free kick. It's off. I'm sorry, I have to go now. I have to jump off.
No stress, my brother. No stress. Thank you so much for joining me. Malume Kutso, should the punishments be harsher? especially in certain situations where committees have looked over it. If you look at, for example, in a separate sense, if a team is found guilty of match fixing, we've seen Juventus retroactively get points taken from them, X amount of points that was discussed or whatever. Should there be the same type of thing by maybe a separate refereeing body that can give teams some, I don't know, some retribution or something in the situations where it's been ratified that there was a huge mistake made here, and maybe not restarting matches, but I was just trying to make an example.
No, a written apology is enough for Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it's a blessing in disguise with
Guys, don't make it chismaralona.
No, it's happening to the right team. If it was happening to other teams, it would fall on deaf ears. It's happening to the right team.
Swallows.
Yeah, but the exact, and we're not even talking about them.
I keep trying. People keep taking me back to Chief.
I'm happy. It makes the conversation, it gives a bit of weight to the conversation. But you see, the thing is sometimes about this is that even the players don't know the laws of the game.
Yeah.
And some laws go to sleep. What do I mean? There's a law that was somehow discovered by pirates during 2010, 2011 season. I can tell you now the law has gone to sleep because it never changed, but some people don't even know what's it. You can't be offside from a goal kick.
From a goal kick and a throw in.
Yeah, I understand. So you can just play, and teams push up a goal kick. You can just go stand next to the keeper and it's over trouble. And then I keep saying it will affect the psyche of the ref moving forward, right?
Okay.
So what I'm saying is let's give proper training to ref. Let's also give our coach proper training. The coaches must also write tests based on the laws, right? And let's also introduce issue of punisher cheating players. This will then put a heavier burden on the ref to make the right decision.
But the reason why I'm asking it like this is like if I am paid off, quote unquote, allegedly, I don't want to mention any actual match or whatever. Say, quote unquote, I'm paid off and we make that decision. The referees also know that, you know what, I'm going to eat my suspension. The 4 weeks, it's the charities in my pocket. I'll come back after 4 weeks. I'll be able to carry on. Meanwhile, Team X or Team Y maybe is relegated because of 2 points. Team whatever, maybe it doesn't get into the top 8, doesn't get into Confed, doesn't do whatever. In decisions that afterwards they've seen fit to suspend the referee because they felt as though that decision was so strong, right? So if it was a brown bag, I've done my job.
Here's what I'm saying. It's not the act. I mean, it's not the consequence that should be punished, but the decision, the act. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
If I call an offside, let it be seen. Let it be seen as an offside decision.
Okay.
Not a bribe. I'm not necessarily a bribe, but not a relegation offside, if I'm making sense. A relegation. Because 5 months later, because the counter argument is that you were robbed at game 28.
Yeah.
I mean, game 2, you had 28 other games to rectify, which I also don't agree. I don't like it when people are robbed and then they are told what you can do better. But all I'm saying is let's look at is this human error first, which I think it's already been done. Which is this a reasonable error? Let the ref come and explain. This is what I saw. This is how I saw it, without being made to feel because you see what NNV said. I like it. The ref blinked and the other ref was focusing on the line, because that's what you have to do as a linesman. Your main prerogative is to focus on the line make sure you are in line with the second last defender. So it's possible that they both miss it. But the referee should be able to say, this is what happened and this is what happened. And then
But then isn't that their job, Malume Kuzi? Isn't that their job? It's funny how we don't ask that for 90 minutes, but the 1-2 minutes it becomes a convenient excuse.
Yeah, like I'm saying, Wuti, I get it now. We're talking about when we punish.
Oh
So
yeah, no. Okay, let me use the example. Yes, Kukune and Swallows. Last minute, keeper gets pushed into the goals. The goal is given. Kukune kicks off. Game ends. Right. In that one, where it's specifically where there's a penalty that maybe might be a goal. There's an offside that maybe it was keeper pushed in, that goal given, that gave that gave Swallows the win, right? Yeah. In that situation, that specific argument where the ref was also suspended after that, the ref and the linesman, I think it was suspended after that. Can Kukune feel hard done by?
Well, an investigation can take place, right? And the findings will then dictate. I mean, I support a replay. Where do I support a replay? Where it's clear that the ref had a mission and he made it possible with the desired outcome is reached.
Yeah.
But we can see with it, but guys, it was never going to happen. For example, the Bafana game, when you listen to the rationale behind it, a set amount of goals had to be scored by Bafana, and a set amount of goals had to be scored by Senegal. And when you look at the goals scored by Bafana, a penalty that hit the knee, we are going with that. And the second goal where the ball, the ball was in motion, and the free kick was taken while the ball was in motion, and the ref was like, hey, stop talking to me, they are playing. And then it was a goal. More I understand, and I get why FIFA was like, this is too much. We have to replay. And I feel like even more PSL, we have to bring it back where it's like, okay, maybe Solos did not have, and maybe, I'm not saying Solos, maybe Team X did not have momentum. And they thought, let's just make the pots happen, one understand. In that case, I also agree with you. We can't just say, you must do better in other games. I think harsher punishment and harsher maybe banning them from football and seizing a couple of assets bought from those proceedings, corruption, then it makes sense. I do not want us to have a sledgehammer hanging or an axe hanging over the head of Amarif. It's going to make it even worse. Where referees are like, hey, I might go to prison if I don't call this penalty. Life sentence for not calling this penalty. Penalty. Only to find out it's not even a penalty. You won't understand. Imagine it's actually going. But so all I'm saying is in closing, yes, let's apply a punishment, but after extensive investigation. That's my closing statement.
Guys, please, if you haven't followed, please follow. Also, guys, I am monetized on YouTube, so please help me out by watching on YouTube, watching the videos on YouTube, joining the memberships that are available there. Really helps out. Small Credit Solution, I'm going to come to you with the same question. Should punishments be harsher for certain cases of refs influencing a game?
Can I just I wanted to give an answer based on NVA's answer before I answer yours. When he says when you should focus on the line, no, that is totally wrong. You are also a referee. Remember, you went there because today they choose you. You'll be in the side of the line, and you'll be a fourth official. You'll be the referee of the match. But all of you, as a group, you are the officiator of like the referees of that match.
Yeah.
And then based on what he said, that also the teams must also learn the rules. It also goes to the club. Do they have sessions? Some other clubs, they do have sessions. That's why when they learn the rules of the game, they also use those rules to their advantage. You
Yeah.
understand? Because
Yeah.
if you check, if you put a number 5 who's big and strong, and then I put a Keegan, what you call, um, for example, Keegan Dole, whoever, his spin, when he touches him, he's going to use that advantage that they said any contact based on this time, I'm going to sell it to the referee. Understand? On your answer, if we start to make referees and then we give them a job, not this thing of part-time job, they tell them this job, this you're going to end this match every month. I think it will help a lot based on their
Okay.
decision. Bobo, because of you come to a game where it's a final, like for example, Sundowns and Pirates, it's a final. His mindset must be clear to focus on the game. Understand? Not coming with his own issues outside and also going to ref in that game. So if he makes a mistake, he must be punished based on now. Remember, it's your job. It's no longer where we're gonna suspend you for games and you're gonna come back. No, it's your job, bruh. You made a big mistake. There are harsh mistakes that you can see, right? This one, sorry, it's based on you. Wabo. And not you alone as a referee who was supposed to take the final decision. Also the first official, including the linesman, they had to see it and they have to help that member. For me, if they can make it a job for them, it will help a lot. Serious. So
But
that
then
we
how
can
do you hold them accountable when it's their jobs? Is it just that you're going to fire them? They can be fired now.
it can go to a point where you have a job. There's certain rules that if you make a mistake, you'll be fined. If you make a mistake, you'll be like fired. Because now if you suspend me and I'm going to come back, it doesn't give anything. Yeah. And then another thing, based on, I'm just going to say it, and I don't know if you have checked it. You know, also the referee's decision, it can be helped with I don't know if I can say help or motivated via the fans and the players inside the field. Do you know that? Do you know that when something happens and then the fans they chant, they make a lot of noise, and the referee could see that one, it's a clear penalty. Everyone saw it. You understand? But if all of you go towards the referee, including the players, you be in front of his face, he can take another tell them, guys, the way you are. That's what I'm
But
gonna
then
do.
aren't we letting them off the hook then? Because if we say that, I mean, it's not the first time this ref has refed in the stadium. It's not the first time they've refed in front of certain players or a certain occasion of game. Or it shouldn't be. But then it's like, if we say that, then it's almost me making an excuse for somebody who's meant to have built up all of this by then. You get what I mean? Like, we can't say that it's new to them. We can't say that, oh, the linesman has to watch the line and has to do this. Or when the fans do this, it's your job. You get what I mean? Like, it's a job. You are experienced. All of this can't be new. Players running up to you shouldn't be changing your decision. Fans shouldn't be changing your decision, because then that means that then any game can be swayed by anything, and we shouldn't care about the refs. They have to take some accountability. It's their job, no?
Yes, it is their job. But what I liked about this, what you call Victor Combs, you remember Victor Combs? If you run towards him, he gives you a warning. He puts the hand behind. But when nothing helped him, so that the players, they are not like scared of him, but you should respect that because of that referee has to take a decision based on. But they should also take accountability. For me, suspension, it's not, because he's still gonna come back, and one day we'll have
still gonna come back.
make the same mistake, and then if he makes the same mistake,
They've
we should
made the same mistakes. Babang, they've been suspended multiple times.
They should be out, my friend.
No, thank you. Let me bring in Black Butterfly. How you doing, my brother?
It's a long time, my chest.
Yeah, very long time. But where you hiding?
Just been a bit busy, man.
No stress.
When I hear referees, I think about what happened to us the weekend. We were robbed 9-9. There's no favor. There is no, when you watch that, especially that last minute where the defenders even running, looking for a ball. The referee's not assisting in getting the ball, and then the referee even blows the game off earlier than expected. I mean, that was the last chance. At least allow the last chance, then it wouldn't have been that obvious, you know. So if I could
Should
have
the
a
punishment
replay,
of
like
the
the
refs
first thing,
be? Should
the first thing
should
I
the
was thinking,
punishments
a
of the refs
replay.
be harsher? Should they be harsher? Because now this suspension for a couple of weeks, then after a couple of weeks they come back again.
You see, the thing is, if you look at South African football as a whole, now the more, I mean, the ref didn't just cost the game. It cost 8 million rand. It cost us recovering from over 10 years, 8 years without a cup. There's more to it than just that money that he got, whatever the case is. Not that he got, I don't know.
Yeah,
But if you look at it,
allegedly, Black Butterfly, allegedly.
so luckily I'm not part of the show, and what I say is my own view. So I think the main thing here is that once if PSL, if we look at how many employees they have at the offices, etc., etc., you wanna tell me certain jobs can't be cut so that we accommodate referees? A board of 10 referees. What we look at it, they probably need 20 referees to run a whole season, right? So you're gonna tell me out of they can't just employ 20 people on a salary of over 30,000. Give them a decent salary, 30,000, 50,000. So you're gonna tell me even we saw who's this Outsurance sponsoring. What are they actually sponsoring besides the kit then? What we need to actually pay them. Let's rather let them leave their normal jobs, give them these jobs. It's a normal job application. 'Cause now we have people sitting in SAFA offices, which I'm sure can be replaced because that's a vital position in the league. So the league first needs to get its act together and prioritize certain jobs in the league. That way, obviously, the punishment now come onto your scorecard. Everyone is scored at work. Everyone is based on performance. Everyone gets bonuses based on performances. Everyone gets rated on performances. So obviously, all these small things will come to that. Once you get, I mean, if we look at Saturday, the game against Sundowns, that if the guy was permanently employed, that's the first one, a written warning, not no punishment. Yes, it goes with suspension but we implement basic policies that we have at work, where we say, first warning, you know already your job is on the line. You need to improve. If we look at, I think we were talking about people outside influence on the referees and stuff like that. I would like to ask the question, yet again, goes back to the league. In the referees training, are they actually preparing them mentally? Is the psychology that comes with this being trained to our referees? You know what I mean? Because are they able to deal with the pressures that comes with crowd environments? Are they being mentored and given that to say, okay, different situations where your mental capacity is now also then affected. So even there you can see now, psychology is also needed in there. How do you keep a referee fresh for the whole 90 minutes without missing a thing? Because now you see him missing this thing, then he misses another one, then he's now blowing the game off early. Once all of these come together, it portrays a picture that maybe that's not even the case. So it's not. It could be that yes, he definitely missed all of those cases, but then all the additional stuff, then the pressure starts piling onto him. How is he dealing with all of that? So I think from PSL perspective, they need to do better in terms of how they employ. That way, then they can obviously now implement proper disciplinary processes in place. Because for me as a referee, I don't even know how much they get. I don't think we really privy unless anyone can.
It's like it's 6K. It can go up to 6K. It's 4K base, and then it can go up to 6K depending on how many matches you've refed. Yeah.
Okay.
So if
now
I'm not
you
mistaken.
look at it in that, you look at it in that sense. How many? Then if SAFA can't pay the referees, then we need to look at or PSL can't pay the referees on a monthly basis to accommodate that. Then the clubs need to start paying ground tax for every game that they play. Then they need to increase it. Make it then, 10,000 per team? 15,000 per team. I mean, how much are they making off gate taking? 15,000 is nothing when they're playing, I mean, especially games of such magnitude, you know what I mean? So all of these things until we can employ them properly, only then we'll be able to take proper disciplinary action. You're getting 6,000 per game, sharp. Now, what's Mutsepi's son's name? He comes,
Kloppy.
he gives you, he's not offering, I doubt he's offering it directly, because I'm still upset for that game. So they offered him something, statement. Sundowns offered him 30K. Look at the 6. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna miss 6. I'm gonna miss 2 games. It's fine. I'm getting, obviously, I think this was a big cup, so maybe I'm thinking it was over 100. Yeah, you know, so it's fine. We take that. I'll be out for the next couple of months even. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? And the only thing is, if you look at Safa, what they're doing, they're not even suspending them totally. I think they've got some punishment where they say they're suspended, and the next thing they're going and they're reffing there in Tsepi League, and then they're reffing in Castle League or wherever they're reffing. So there's not enough referees, and that's what I'm saying. I think with this new academy or whatever they're building there, Safa, I don't know what they launched the other day, but let's get referees also then into those programs. I think they launched some college or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let's get referees in there as well. Let's start building, because everyone who watches Kasi football, they know there's like regular referees there. Those people aren't doing it for money. Those people are doing it for passion. They're there. How do we develop those people? So even a referee, there's development in that as well. There should be development in that, because go back to the grassroots as well. So this disciplinary won't work until we look at what is it that they're actually losing. You can't always, I think someone mentioned now, no, we must attach their assets. Okay, you can't do that. I know we can't do that. You know, they haven't been found guilty of anything. But put the fear in there so you will lose your job permanently. There's only one chance to referee for Safa. So if you're out. Who's going to want to be fired from that? Now this back and forth allows this. But we can say maybe it was a mistake, but were they actually equipped and mentally prepared not to lose focus during a game? Are we teaching our referees all of that?
Let me bring in Julius. Julius, how are you doing, my brother? Ginsa.
Hey, OT.
Ginsa, bro.
Shapa, bro.
How? Can sa jump again?
Kau text us mun to muri ino barko bego nyaga go kumana muri kubulalo na muri comments maraga no kushara kita
send a message, send a direct message.
Yeah, kita send a direct message.
So should the punishment be tougher? Koji reference, should it be tougher?
No, I don't think it should be tougher, guys. I think the spotlight is on them already. You know, regarding everything that's happening. So for me, I feel like it's not like it's something new. Let's not be surprised now about some of the decisions that are happening. They've been happening, and some referees have gotten away with such because maybe the occasion was not as big as the semi-final match, but we should be. It's a problem we should be attacking rationally. Okay, it's fine. Because now when I look at the referees, I even look at England. I look at England. Sometimes you get calls, or you can tell, oh man. And the worst part, Bona, they do have a VAR, but they still get those decisions wrong. You know? So, at all, you can imagine. You know, Uzor, there's one thing Longore, Ebetile Lutkolobad. Lutkolobadu Vetileki, penalty la ya Tembazwan. Imetilinchi game is yo. Penalty la Pirates versus Pirates. Yes, Sundowns versus Pirates. That penalty Metilela or is playing on your mind or ish. I've seen this thing happen. So what if? But Korontola Nesa Nidi or na if Nenkevekile and Nankeveki Filega Kaseka or by level by scrutinize by diam only to find out operation because I mean like a real time you can just tell or that's a pen. So for me, I feel like I'm never talk about the referee and come South Africa in football in general, but come South Africa because we are not dealing with the problem,
Okay.
Once on your show, I remember you have Ungilwa appointing where let's take let's communicate with SuperSport. Can't they have a camera nyana somewhere just for referral? I remember it was on your show, on the very same platform. Worry, can't we communicate with SuperSport or Raymond? You are the broadcaster in such games. Let's have a camera nyana somewhere, just to know referee can go there. Let's get the right decisions.
I create Dstv now, man.
Dstv in the meantime, solution. Solution. The problem keeps piling up. Imagine a referee will be refereeing the final next week. Can you imagine the pressure already before? Imagine that pressure, So I feel like let's have one thing about our football. We don't have the right people go in positions. Let's have young blood, guys. You look at Kaizer Chiefs. It's not my team, but you can feel Kaizer Junior. You can feel there's something is cooking. Young blood, we need. Young blood, we need. I go mediating Kaizer Junior na asaganchi mona abolela. No, Mara, he's not usually out there saying. Remember Bobby? You remember Bobby used to tell Chiefs fans, I didn't force anyone to support this team.
Yeah.
So you don't see such from Kaizer Junior. Young blood, if you look at Koza now, even when he eats, you can see a process or age, I pick up all the age. Let's have young blood. Let's have but they will come with ideas. Guys, let's try this. Upon yolo, it's like we are sitting. We're all crying. What are we doing? Nothing. The same problem here next season. So it's a problem. It's like we are not willing to solve that problem. So I don't know. Let's see. Okay. I wish we could have more females. Let's try. I'm not being. But there's a lady. Let's have that lady. Let's try. Sheriff. Let's try. Guys. Because let's try new. It's just that the pity the stakes are too high in the PSL, all of a sudden, no, the guys famous such big game, That's the problem. We are ready for. I don't think we are ready for that. But
we'll speak about it proper another time. DMA.
Salga maybe it's the right platform or Salga like the other day. As far as I understand, platform as much as sometimes I get in, but most of the time I'm here, I'm watching. Sometimes sometimes I'm at work.
I send when I
remember. Sharp. No, DM, and then we'll take it from there.
No stress. Thank you so much, guys. For time's sake, listen, guys. Look, to close. Here's my thing. I have a son. My son is he's turning 5. What I've realized is that if the punishment is very little, he's going to carry on doing it forever. So for me, some of these things just keep on playing over and over and over again, and it doesn't seem like they're being addressed. And to be honest with you, part of the reason is that relationship between SAFA and the PSL. If you guys don't know, the referees come from SAFA in order to be in the PSL. But essentially what's happening is that PSL doesn't want to take responsibility for these referees because they don't pay them, they're not under the control, so they're like, we don't take control of this. SAFA doesn't want to hand over the referees to the PSL because then there's a bit of that dynamic that they lose, right? So there's also that power battle. And maybe that's what stops all of the stuff. My issue is, how many times are we going to see the same referees suspended, the same mistakes happening, the same mistakes costing games? And I'm not even talking about the Chiefs one, because when you look at the Chiefs one, it's a penalty. Maybe Williams saved it, right? We don't know. But in the case of like Skukune Swallows, where the keeper gets pushed into the goal and the goal is given, right? That is a very big issue. And it might not be to anybody a big issue now, but now later on, and I look back on the thing, I think to myself, we could have maybe gotten a point there, maybe gotten a point there. And also it was ratified by SAFA to say, guys, this was wrong. This is why we are suspending the ref. There was an external party, or not external, whatever, they looked into it and said, this was so egregious that we feel it right that the ref must be suspended, right? So now, what are all the different stakes? As we've said in the PSL, I don't like to look at it as there's big decisions and small decisions, because all those decisions could influence what a team is going to do. My issue is, if you carry on having the same people suspended, are you able to hold them accountable? You know, I don't even believe in the giving them full time, for example, as a way to curb this. If I suspend you over and over and over again as a part-time worker, I should be able to get rid of you, right? But now we're seeing the same mistakes and the same things happening over and over and over again, and nothing is happening. The only reason why we're speaking about refs, if we're being honest, is because high-profile game with high-profile supporters, with high-profile engagement on media and all of that stuff. That's why these things. But if we were to break game by game, Malume Kutso spoke the other day about Amazulu versus Polokwane, where it was a goal kick, a ball was passed to a defender, he picked it up with his hands, put it down, passed it back to the keeper, they made it a goal kick, and the guys were going, wait, what's going on here, right? Those things happen far too often. My fear with VAR, to be 100% honest with you, my fear with VAR is very simple. If I am making that mistake on the pitch, what's going to happen when I'm sitting in a room, if they choose that VAR, if I'm sitting in a room and it's being sent to me to watch and to give advice to the referee, right? What's going to happen? The same pressures, the same situation. It's just that I'm sitting at a desk somewhere. Now it becomes even worse if the bribing issue is really true, right? Allegedly. If the brown envelopes issue is really true, right? I've been paid off. You've been paid off. That one's been paid off. They know where the refs are. They know who's going to be refing the games at least a week before they need to do anything. They know all of this stuff. So if really I am bribing these people, what's stopping me from bribing the same guy I could bribe on the pitch? Now he's sitting in the VAR office and you're telling me that I'm not going to be able to bribe him there too. Same gents, if it's true. You're telling me that the same guys that are making these mistakes on the pitch are not going to be making these mistakes in VAR room, or be under the same pressure, be under the same everything that everybody was speaking about now. What's going to change in that regard? We see what's happening with VAR all around the world, right? We see what's happening. But something has to give. And I think that just like most of the problems we have in our South African football, a lot of that comes from the relationship between the PSL and SAFA and whether they want the best for our leagues. A lot of the time we found that we only have a few referees. We only have a few of them, right? In relation to the PSL, we only have a few referees. So now I can't even, when I'm thinking about it, fire someone, because who's going to come in and cover the next few games that's experienced? Oh, I've got a category A game. Likolo Padi is a very experienced ref that we bring for these big games. I need to have him back. Therefore, let me suspend him for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then he's going to come back. So these are, for me, some of the issues and some of the things. But at some point, you're going to have to put your foot down. At some point, you mustn't wait for somebody to resign under suspicious circumstances. They need to be fired. or the consequences have to be so big. For me, I want there to be an X over my ref when they go ref a game. I want it to be there because I want to overcome whatever other pressures, the fans, the stadium, the what. You need to be under so much pressure, especially in certain situations, right? That you think about making the right decision before you think about, the fans might say this, these people might do this. And also, can we not, I think we're letting these guys off the hook if we're saying that they've got so many pressures and all these different things. It's the job that you do, that you signed up for. It's the job that you do. My issue with the PSL is there's the ref, 2 linesmen and the 4th official. All of them are blind. All of them are blind. And if those guys were blind every single day, they're all blind, what happens when I go to VAR room? What will change? Really? Honestly speaking, if it's the same gens. So, guys, for me, the refereeing has gotten to a very bad place. And I'm not just saying it. There were times, there's a lot of times before I was even a streamer, I would say, rebaropile batho ba. Rebaropile. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Remember to follow if you have not followed. I am now monetized on YouTube. So please, there's memberships for as cheap as 20 Rand a month. There's obviously when you watch the videos, there's certain things that come up that I can't say the word. But please just watch a bit more. The views really help me out. And yeah, I've been waiting for this monetization, as you guys know, because I'd asked for donations and things, but this is primarily how I need to do it, and I need your help on that front. Also on the Facebook side, the only difference is that Facebook, I can't monetize my lives, but on the other side, we can monetize everything. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll be back again on Monday. I'm not going to cover the Pirates match tonight. But then I'm going to be back on Monday, 12:30. Like I say, always Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm here. You can hear from me, the panelists, all of that. We do reviews of games. We speak mostly about the topics surrounding South African football, big topics and problems and things and how to fix them and all of that stuff. And then also watch-alongs. And on Facebook and YouTube, I have other content that is not live, that is not on TikTok. So please, if you can do me the favor of watching that too. I've got so much stuff that I'm going to be bringing out in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, look out for that. I'll see you guys then. 12:30. Malume Kutso. For me, I've always been a little bit honest with these things. I try to be honest because I even told you the last time, my gripe isn't necessarily that something was done wrong or whatever. It's just that, it's happening so much now. It's happening so much now that it's becoming a big problem in our league. I even I necessarily didn't care about that penalty because I'm always like, it will catch you sometime, this bad refereeing. So it's just our turn to be caught. But if something can be done to stop it as a whole, it should be done. But thank you guys for joining me. Monday, 12:30, I'll be here.